Thank you very much for inviting me here. I'm so happy for that. For those who doesn't know me, my name is Lise-Lott Eriksson, and I'm the chair of the Swedish Blood Cancer Association. I was diagnosed with essential thrombocythemia by 2011. 2 years before that, my father was diagnosed with myeloma. So we have lived with this blood cancer diseases in our family for a long time. I started to be engaged in our local organization in Stockholm, and since 2015 I've been the chair for the Swedish Blood Cancer Association. Under the Blood Cancer Association, we have 14 different local organizations. And we have, for the moment, we have around 4,200 members totally. The Blood Cancer Association, we contribute to blood cancer research by Blodcancerfonden, where we try to get money from personal to give away to research, and also travel and conferences for hematological people. And we also work for good and equal care. We do a lot of interest policy work, and we have projects in patient-reported measurement, patient preference, and we also have a cancer rehabilitation cancer project going on. We also try to do a lot of information work. We organize this Diagnose Specific Days. We have a magazine that goes out 4 times a year to members. And we also do a lot of newsletters and diagnose specific information. We have brochures, and we are also very, very active on social media. And this is just a comparison from 2015 to 2019 that I know. When I started, we had around 3,000 members. We had 1.5 permanent staff in our organization. And we didn't do any projects. But for the moment, in 2019, we have around 2,050 members, 2.25 permanent staff employees, and we have 4 people employed for projects. We do 7 diagnose specific days compared to 2. We do our own interest policy advocacy work. We have 7 communication channels, and we also have monthly givers to Blodcancerfonden. We have a patient support. We have a lot of patient support groups, diagnosed specific, and we also have caregivers. And you can see our result from the organization is actually very good for the moment, but it was pretty bad when I started. So you can do a lot of things. Our funding resources we get some from state funding, but that is not enough at all. We also get organizational support from Cancerfonden, which is a very, very big organization in Sweden, and they have such huge amount of money that they collect. And I tried to push for a long time that our small cancer organization in Sweden, we really need money to do our work. They thought that we need just education, but I said what we really need is actually money to do our work. And finally, we received that by organizational support. We also apply from Arvsfonden and Hedlunds Stiftelse, which also are organizations that's kinds where you can apply money from. We have some projects together with industry, pharma industry, under very, very strict regulations. We got money from Impact Team. Celgene had a very big project that you could apply for. And we applied for shared decision making, a patient preference study. And we also have got money from MPE scholarship, IMF grants, and so on for small projects that we have organized. So in 2018 and also in 2017, we did this member survey just to see what our members really wanted us to work on. And number one, that was interest policy advocacy, access to treatment and patient rights. That was number one, what our member really wanted us to work for. Number two was diagnose specific days. Number three, patient-reported measurements. And then cancer rehabilitation, patient support, research information, our member magazine, and caregiver support. So, the projects we are running, our big projects, interest policy advocacy. We organized roundtable discussions. We have done it around in Sweden. We talk about 6 different regions. And we have organized these roundtable discussions. It's with politicians. We invite politicians, policymakers, payers, Blodcancerförbundet is there, academia, and pharma industry people. We try to collect everybody together. Because what we really think is that if we really want to do something, we have such a challenge, and we really need to come together and discuss if we want the patients to get access to this innovative treatments that are coming very fast for the moment. We talk about access to new treatments, and we talk about research and clinical trials, of course. And we also have this project, patient-reported measurement, patient preference. We have had one lady employed for 2 years for this, working for this project. And she has been doing 79 deep interview that she has been launched a report on very recently. And what she really come up to was that a lot of people say, if we really knew what we were getting into, we would not have this treatment again. And that was, so this is really a lot of important things that we get from that project. And rehabilitation project from Allmänna arvsfonden. So, why is this access to treatment so important in Sweden? For a couple of years ago, we launched a national structured introduction for new treatments and drugs. The system was very good because it's to secure an equal, value-based, and cost-effective usage of new drugs, with the ambition that all patients should get the drugs with no delay. And of course, this is really, really good. But before we have this national structured, it looked like this. You see, it was only a couple of boxes here. After this national structured introduction, there are so many different layers and boxes to add to the system. One line is for drugs from the pharmacy, and one is from the hospital. And the big players in this system should be TLV, that we heard of yesterday. They are doing the cost-effectiveness evaluation, and then NT-rådet, new therapy, that should not evaluate, but they should get an approval for the drugs after it is cost effectiveness evaluated. But for a few years ago, our government, they put on a reimbursement investigation to see how it really looks like. And this is how it really looked like. And what is the process that are going on. So imagine this system is not cost effective at all. And there are a lot of people that are doing nothing, I would say, and just delay access for patients. So I usually talk about this. This is the picture that I took from Bettina Rill, and I think it's really good, because this really shows that here you could get access through clinical trials, and then you end up in a black hole when all the processes are going on for evaluating and then finally get an approval in Sweden. So it's here. And this process can take up to 2 years. Finally, we almost ever get the approval, but it could take such a long time. And a lot of blood cancer patients, they don't have that time, actually, you know. So this is just to show a picture. This is for a myeloma drug, but how it is 6 different regions. And here you see how much money the different regions spend on this drug. And this is the region of Stockholm, Gotland, and this is the western region, Gothenburg region. And compared how much difference is this? It is around 3.5 million Swedish crown that the region spend on one single drug, myeloma drug for patient. And see, this national structured system that we did was to suppose an equal usage of drug. And 3.5 million Swedish crowns is about 350,000 euros. So it's quite a lot, actually. So what I really, usually when I'm out speaking in Sweden, I talk about this real-world evidence, how we can collect data to real-world evidence, analyzing, and have that for decision-making in HTA process. I also talk a lot about this kind of differences in patient engagement. Patient involvement could be either passive or active. I've been to so many meetings that we as a patient advocate are just meeting. It's just a tick in a box. Oh, now we have the patient advocates in the meeting. So good. But that's not where we want to be. We want to be in the places where we can set the agenda as patient advocates and the meeting is active, and that we really can influence what is said and what is being done. Thank you. So I think this is really, really important. So that is what we're really trying to do. And we are working so hard to get influence in HTA decisions. And we are using this model, the EU-Party model, and we actually have applied for money from Vnova, which is a really huge, they are doing this innovative projects in Sweden. And we are have applied for money to run a project where we, as a patient advocate group, could get influence in HTA decision making. And hopefully, we will get money from the project, and hopefully that will end up that all, not only Swedish Blood Cancer Association, but all cancer organizations and all patient organizations in Sweden would get influence in HTA decision making, which I think is very, very important for our future. So, with that, I want to thank you. Thanks very much.
I think we have time for a few questions.
Yeah.
Actually, I have a question, Lise-Lott.
Yeah.
Given where you are with your organization and thinking about all the emerging groups here,
Yeah.
is there any advice you would give to a group that's coming up right now who is still trying to choose their path and, make their way in much the way that, you show a model of how to flourish?
Well, what we have been doing, as I tried to show, is to apply for money to all these different projects and doing it in projects. And that has been our way in Sweden. But I think there are so many different systems you have. In Sweden, our culture, our tradition is not this kind of fundraising. This is not really our tradition. Our tradition is that we have this real huge organization that Cancerfonden and the stiftelser and whatever. So we have chosen that pathway to apply for so many different projects. And I think one thing is that we have found a way to have people employed, because there is so hard to do this work, because this work it takes a lot of time from you, and it's so hard to when the organization don't have employees. So if there is a way for you to do that, I would really recommend that. But I know it could be very hard.
John?
Thank you, Lise-Lott. Another really, really inspiring presentation. Question is, you talked about the people that you employ to work on projects. I think you just implied that you also employ people to apply for the funding as well. Is it?
Yeah.
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 My question is, what are the sort of skills and knowledge and experience that you look for in the people to work in that field? Because I'm sure you told us that it's extremely complex and complicated system to work in. Where do you go to find those people that have the necessary knowledge and skills for that?
Well, that's really a hard question to answer, yeah, because I would say that we have... When I started the organization, we had one guy that was employed for our organization, but he quit very soon, because I think he saw what our organization, that I was pushing so much. So I wanted to do so much. So he quit. And I employed a guy from an economical school, Handelshögskolan in Sweden, who was interested to work with this kind of charity, or what you would say, patient and advocates group. And together we have just came up with so many new ideas and so many new projects and what we are doing. And we have just launched application, and that we have always had good people to apply. So, and I would say in Sweden, our organization are kind of, we have for the moment, we have a very good reputation, I would say. So we don't find it too hard to get people in our organization. The biggest challenges that we have been our board that has not been so fond of all the new projects that we are doing. Yeah. Yeah, I know.
Oh, no, thank you. I didn't want to cut you off, but this is a fantastic discussion, and I think we need to continue this as the days go on. But can we just give a round of applause one more time for Lise-Lott, and thank you so much for that. At this time, we would love to welcome from MPN